Homeward bound after circumnavigating Iceland, we passed the Mull of Kintyre and Sand Island Lighthouse, en route to Troon on the Scottish mainland. A fierce wind favoured the kite surfers, but presented us with steep head seas. We passed the crags of Ailsa Craig, number 3 in the list of top gannet colonies we had visited. With time running short, we headed down the Irish Sea directly to Milford Haven in southwest Wales. We covered the 253 miles in 25 hours and locked through into the marina. Like many ports we visited, the town had a memorial to fishermen lost in the rough seas that regularly battered the coast. From here we made direct passage to Land's End at the southwest tip of England, where the waters of the Celtic Sea meet those of the infamous English Channel. Perched on an offshore rock, Longship's lighthouse stands 114 feet above the waves, but not, as this photo shows, above their reach. With the corner turned, the seas were from aft, and we made for the Cornish town of Foy. Legend has it that a young Jesus Christ visited the town with his uncle, Joseph of Arimathea, who was a tin merchant. Punch's Cross commemorating this belief was erected on these rocks more than 500 years ago. Modern structures nestle alongside a blockhouse built in 1380. Cornwall was an exporter of tin as long ago as 1600 BC and is still an important supplier of china clay. Surprisingly large ships still navigate through the picturesque harbour. A small ferry crosses the narrow channel, and at high tide we took the tender 7 miles up the Foy River. We passed grey-lag geese and other water birds as we drifted through this slice of rural England. Our last port of call was Dartmouth, which we had twice visited in the past. Our arrival coincided with their annual regatta. The harbour was abuzz with frenetic activity, and the shore fringed with crowds of people. Dartmouth is the home of the Royal Naval College, and the Navy had a presence both ancient and modern. Venture was tied up next to a cluster of vintage lifeboats, and rafting was on a scale seldom encountered. The regatta culminated with a spectacular firework display, at which we had a front row seat. We felt it might almost have been organised for our benefit, to mark the successful conclusion of an epic trip. The following morning nature provided a more subtle display of her own as Chris untangled the mooring lines. Navigation markers warned of dangers along the treacherous coast, littered with shipwrecks dating back as far as the Bronze Age. The English Channel was in a rare benign mood as we approached the Isle of Wight and the Needles. Soon we were turning into the Itchen River. As we passed beneath the bridge, the spring of heather on the jackstaff proclaimed we had been north of Ardnamurchan Point. Indeed, just 6 weeks earlier we had been above the Arctic Circle. Ten days later, Venture was on display at the Southampton International Boat Show, with no evidence that she had just returned from a cruise to Ireland, Scotland, the Faroes, and the circumnavigation of Iceland, during which we had travelled 4,677 nautical miles over 134 days.